Facebook is warning Australians that they may not be able to actually share their local news or even their news organizations globally if new legislation in Australia passes. Basically the legislation would force Facebook and other social media sites to actually pay media outlets for their news content. So in other words, they wouldn't be able to just put, these are the headlines from the such organizations. They would have to pay them to do it. And well, Zuck, he's not going to pay for anything. Even Facebook made a significant statement on that. Will Easton, the managing director of Facebook Australia, said, "This is not our first choice. It is our last. But it is the only way to protect against an outcome that defies logic and will hurt, not help, the long-term vibrancy of Australia's news and media sector." Now, using its homepage search engine in Australia, a message was sent to local users that it would harm their ability to search and would lead to consequences for YouTube users. The proposal would allow certain media outlets to bargain either individually or collectively with Facebook and Google and enter into arbitration if the parties can't reach an agreement within 3 months, according to regulators. That process would involve an independent arbitrator looking at offers from both sides and settling the matter within 45 business days. Now, as a result of this, Facebook is canceling Facebook News Australia, and that's really important to keep in mind. Now, the Australian Treasurer, Josh Frydenberg, responded to Facebook's announcement Tuesday, saying that reforms would help create a more sustainable media landscape. In other words, get more money into the pockets of Australian media. Now, this does have the unintended consequence of censorship. I don't think that they were going for censorship here. They were looking for a cash grab. But that means, I could not cite an article, I couldn't even show a screenshot of an article from Australia without paying them for it. Now, obviously, I'm far too small for them to care, and far too small for them to come after me. It wouldn't be worth it. But the rule is there, and it has its effect. So this is pretty scary. Major outlets, Yahoo News, might not be able to carry any articles from Australia anymore. It's kind of a scary situation. Now, this really raises the question of why the Australian government would do this. The only reason I can really think of to do something that could potentially be so counterproductive is that Australian media must be hurting in terms of cash. Their incomes must be hurting, and I think that may very well be the reason. I mean, if this was just a simple cash grab out of just greed, I don't think it would be worth it, because this would have too much of a negative effect, not only on their appearance, but on the ability to spread, their information. Let's be honest, the news media is, frankly, propaganda. So I think that they might be not economically viable at this point, and they're looking for more money. But it's also interesting to watch them. Watch capitalism eat itself. Watching property rights end up destroying the very thing it is that they're trying to do. If you have an idea or a viewpoint or propaganda, you need to get it out. This concept of ownership is restricting their ability to get it out. So, I mean, it's kind of really ironic that to defend a system of private property, that private property and profit motive are kind of sabotaging that at this point. Well, capitalism is a series of contradictions. But it's very interesting to look at it that way, because the bourgeoisie are kind of scratching their heads and trying to figure out a way to actually put this out without basically admitting, yeah, we're kind of eating ourselves. So that's what that's about. I mean, I don't think it'll be a major thing for me. I mean, I very rarely ever use any kind of Australian source for anything. It just usually doesn't come up. Most of it is the mainstream media in the U.S., and then I give my interpretation of that, and occasionally use the BBC or CBC kind of thing. But that's the situation there. And what is possibly even worse is if this idea managed to catch on.
Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.